Your future will only be as strong as the skills you build today. That's not just a nice line, it's a reality. Every person walking through life is shaped by habits, choices, and skills. The title of this video says it clearly: 10 skills that every person needs in life. These are not random ideas. These are the building blocks that decide how far you go and how much you grow. Ask yourself, do you have the discipline to stay on track when it's easier to quit? Do you have the focus to finish what you start? Do you have the resilience to rise after setbacks, or the gratitude to stay steady when life feels heavy? If the answer is no, this video is your turning point. I'm going to share with you the 10 skills that create confidence, success, and daily progress. Watch carefully, because these skills are the difference between staying stuck and building the life you want. Chapter 1. Take control of your mornings to win your day. If you want to know where real change begins, you don't need to look at the big events of life. You don't need to wait for a new year, a new opportunity, or some special moment that turns everything around. Change begins in the small choices that shape the direction of your life, and one of the most powerful choices you can make is how you begin your day. The first hour of your morning is not just another block of time. It is the foundation that sets the tone for everything that follows. If you win the morning, you give yourself the best chance to win the day. If you waste it, the rest of your day often follows in the same pattern. Taking control of your mornings is not about complicated strategies or overwhelming routines. It is about deciding that the way you start your day matters more than the excuses you've been using. Too many people begin their mornings in a rush, scrolling through their phone, reacting to notifications, or dragging themselves out of bed with no clear direction. That kind of start leaves you behind before the day has even begun. The truth is, your life is built by what you do repeatedly, and your morning is the first proof of your discipline. If you rise with purpose, you are telling yourself that you are in charge, not your laziness, not your distractions, not your comfort. So how do you take control of your morning? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to how you currently spend those first minutes after waking up. Do you get up quickly or do you delay? Do you prepare yourself for the day or do you drift into it? Awareness is the starting point, because you can't improve what you don't measure. Once you see your current patterns, you can begin to build new ones that support the life you want. The next step is to wake up earlier than you usually do. I don't mean forcing yourself to be miserable with lack of sleep. I mean making the decision to go to bed on time, so that you can give yourself an extra 30 to 60 minutes in the morning. That one choice gives you space. It gives you breathing room before the noise of the world arrives. In that quiet, you can think, plan, and prepare without being rushed. The quality of your day is shaped by the quality of your preparation, and nothing prepares you better than a calm, intentional morning. Now, what do you do with this extra time? The answer is simple. Use it to strengthen your body, your mind, and your spirit. If you don't take care of these 3 in the morning, chances are you'll neglect them later in the day. Begin with your body. Move it. You don't need a complicated workout. Stretch, walk, do some push-ups, anything that gets your blood flowing. When you move your body, you wake up your energy, and energy is the fuel you'll need to face the challenges of the day. Next, feed your mind. Read something valuable, not endless news headlines that drain you, but a page or 2 from a book that can teach you, a few paragraphs that spark ideas, or notes from your goals that remind you what you're working toward. Your mind is like soil. If you plant the right seeds in the morning, you'll harvest the right results throughout the day. If you feed it with nonsense, you'll carry that nonsense into your work, your relationships, and your decisions. Then take time for your spirit. Sit in silence for a few minutes. Think about what matters to you. Express gratitude for being alive and for the opportunities you still have. Gratitude clears away frustration and fills you with perspective. It keeps you from complaining about small inconveniences and reminds you of the bigger picture. When your spirit is steady, your mind is sharp, and your body is energized, you begin the day from a place of strength instead of weakness. You might be asking, why does this matter so much? Because mornings create momentum. Once you begin with discipline, energy and clarity, the rest of your day follows in the same rhythm. If you start sloppy, you'll likely continue sloppy. If you start strong, you'll feel more capable, more alert, and more willing to take on challenges. Momentum is invisible, but it carries enormous weight. It decides whether you drag yourself through tasks or move through them with confidence. Think of the people you admire most. They don't roll out of bed late, stumble into their day, and hope things work out. They rise early, they prepare, and they take charge. That is not luck. That is a skill built through repeated discipline. And the good news is, anyone can build it. You don't need special talent to control your morning. You need the decision to stop giving your best hours to weakness. If you want a simple rule to follow, here it is. Own the first hour of your day. That means no distractions, no meaningless scrolling, no wasted time. Own it by choosing activities that make you better. Own it by moving your body, feeding your mind, and centering your spirit. Own it by reviewing your goals and deciding what matters most today. That 1 hour sets you apart from most people who never take control of their lives, because they never take control of their mornings. Now, this is not about perfection. There will be mornings when you feel tired, mornings when you are tempted to skip, mornings when excuses sound convincing. But discipline is not about never feeling lazy. It is about acting with purpose, even when laziness calls you. Each time you rise early, each time you do the right thing in the morning, you strengthen your willpower, and willpower, like a muscle, grows with use. Ask yourself right now, what is the cost of losing your mornings? How many opportunities have you missed because you started late and unprepared? How much stress have you created for yourself by rushing? How many times have you wasted energy on things that didn't matter because you didn't decide what did matter? The cost is high, but the reward for taking control is even higher. You'll notice that your work improves, your relationships improve because you're calmer and more focused. Your confidence grows because you are proving to yourself that you are in charge. There is also something powerful about knowing you are ahead of the world. When most people are still asleep or still distracted, you are already building your future. That feeling is not arrogance, it is certainty. Certainty that you are not just drifting through life, but actively shaping. That sense of control carries with you throughout the day, and it changes the way you carry yourself. Some people will hear this and think it sounds too simple. They want complex systems, complicated strategies, or shortcuts. But life change rarely comes from complexity. It comes from simple disciplines, done consistently. And among the simplest, yet most effective, is controlling your morning. It's not glamorous, but it works, and if you commit to it for even 30 days, you will notice a difference in how you feel, how you think, and how you act. Taking control of your mornings is more than just a skill. It is a declaration. A declaration that your time matters, that your goals matter, and that your life matters enough to start it the right way. When you make that declaration every morning, you don't just win the day. You win the trust of your future self, who will look back and thank you for the discipline you showed today. So begin tomorrow with purpose. Wake up earlier. Move your body. Feed your mind. Center your spirit. Plan your priority. And then step into your day, knowing that you are not just surviving it, you are creating it. That is how you win your day. And when you win enough days, you begin to win your life. Chapter 2. Build mental toughness to keep going when tired. When life gets hard, most people slow down or stop altogether. They give in to the weight of tiredness, discouragement, or discomfort, and that is where so many dreams are lost. Not because the person lacked talent, not because the opportunity was too small, but because they did not have the mental toughness to keep going when it was difficult. Anyone can move forward when they are rested, comfortable, and motivated. The real test of strength is what you do when you feel drained and worn out. That is where growth lives. That is where progress is made. Mental toughness is not about being fearless. It is about being prepared to continue even when fear and doubt are pressing on you. It is not about never getting tired. It is about finding a way to keep showing up when tiredness arrives. Life will test you. Work will demand more than you think you can give. Relationships will stretch your patience. Goals will push you to your limits. If you want to rise above average, you must learn how to keep moving when the easy energy is gone. The first key to building mental toughness is accepting that tiredness is part of the journey. Too often people see exhaustion as a signal to quit. They think, I feel drained, so this must not be for me. That thinking destroys potential. Feeling tired is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that you are human. Your body gets tired, your mind gets tired, but your commitment can carry you further than you believe. When you begin to see tiredness as expected, you stop running from it and start preparing for it. You know it is coming, so you build strategies to meet it head-on. One of those strategies is clarity. When you are clear about why you are doing something, your mind becomes stronger in moments of weakness. People who quit easily are often not connected to a deep reason. They are chasing surface goals without a real why behind them. When your energy fades, only your purpose can keep you moving. That is why you must write down your reasons. You must remind yourself daily of what you are building, what you are avoiding, and who you are becoming. The mind that is anchored in a strong reason can go far beyond the limits of the body. Another way to build mental toughness is to practice discomfort intentionally. If you always choose the easy way, your threshold for pain remains low. But if you train yourself to handle small doses of discomfort, you expand your ability to handle bigger challenges later. This could mean exercising when you don't feel like it, working longer on a project when you'd rather stop, or saying no to distractions when your mind craves escape. Each time you endure something you would rather avoid, you are not just completing a task, you are toughening your mind. You are teaching yourself that you can survive discomfort and still keep going. Mental toughness also grows through controlling self-talk. The tired mind begins to whisper excuses. It tells you, stop now, you've done enough, you can't do this. If you allow those thoughts to dominate, your energy will collapse faster. But if you train yourself to replace them with stronger words, you push back against weakness. Simple statements like one more step, just keep moving, or I don't quit are powerful. The brain responds to the commands you give it. If you give it weakness, it will collapse. If you give it strength, it will rise. Talking to yourself with authority is not silly. It is survival when you are tired. Rest is also part of mental toughness. People confuse toughness with burning themselves out. True resilience is not about destroying your health. It is about balancing effort with recovery. You must respect sleep, nutrition, and breaks. But you must also know the difference between rest that restores and rest that is just an excuse. Mental toughness means you know when to pause, so you can recharge, but you refuse to pause when it is only laziness trying to disguise itself. There is a sharp line between the two, and toughness helps you see it clearly. One of the most powerful ways to keep going when tired is to focus on small wins. Big goals can feel overwhelming when you are low on energy, but if you shrink your focus to one task, one action, one step, suddenly it feels possible again. Finishing small wins creates a ripple effect. Each one proves to your mind that you are still in the fight. That evidence builds momentum, and momentum carries you forward. Do not underestimate the power of progress in small doses. It can be the difference between quitting and continuing. Another element of toughness is removing the option of quitting. If you leave the door open, your mind will take it the moment it gets difficult. But if you decide in advance that quitting is not on the table, your brain is forced to find another way. This doesn't mean you never change direction in life. It means when you commit to a goal, you commit fully. You take away the escape routes so that the only path is forward. That decision alone creates a new level of inner strength. You must also surround yourself with reminders of resilience. People, books, stories, and even your own past victories. When you are tired, memory becomes a powerful tool. If you recall the last time you thought you couldn't go on but did, you borrow strength from your own history. If you remember someone else who endured greater hardship, you gain perspective. Toughness is not built in isolation. It is built by filling your environment with signals that you can endure more than you think. Discipline in the little things builds the toughness for the big things. If you skip the small responsibilities, your mind learns the habit of giving up. But if you follow through on small commitments even when you don't feel like it, you build trust in yourself. That trust is what you call on when you're exhausted, but still need to finish. Every time you follow through, you are adding one more brick to the wall of your toughness. You also need to learn how to manage pressure. Pressure amplifies tiredness. When you are under deadlines, expectations, or public eyes, exhaustion feels heavier. Mental toughness allows you to breathe under pressure instead of panic. You develop this by deliberately putting yourself in situations where stakes are higher. Practicing calm breathing, and reminding yourself that pressure is proof you are growing. The more you handle pressure with control, the more durable your mind becomes. Mental toughness is not a single act. It is a collection of choices. Choices to keep promises to yourself. Choices to embrace discomfort. Choices to push through when the mind screams for comfort. Choices to fight for your future instead of surrendering to the present. These choices, repeated over time, form a new identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who does not collapse under difficulty. That identity becomes a source of pride, and pride becomes another fuel for endurance. The tired moments are also the moments of separation. This is where most people step aside. They stop showing up. They say, "I'll do it later." But the few who keep going in those same moments rise above the rest. They are not special. They are simply willing to keep moving when others do not. And that willingness, repeated consistently, makes them leaders, achievers, and example. Ask yourself, when you are tired, what do you normally do? Do you stop and complain? Do you push it to another day? Or do you push yourself just a little more? If you want to transform your life, start by changing your response to tiredness. Refuse to let it control your decision. Let it remind you that you are in the exact place where growth happens. Growth does not happen when you are comfortable. It happens when you are stretched, when you are tested, when you are on the edge of giving up, but choose to continue. The reward of building mental toughness is not just achieving your goals. It is the confidence that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. When you prove to yourself that you can endure fatigue, you eliminate fear of hard work. You walk into challenges with the knowledge that, no matter how exhausting, you have the strength to finish. That certainty changes the way you live, the way you work, and the way you face obstacles. If you want to build a life of resilience, success, and self-respect, you cannot avoid the tired moments. You must embrace them. You must welcome them as opportunities to sharpen your mind and strengthen your will.
Each time you go further than your comfort allows, you are training for the bigger battles ahead. Each time you hold on when others quit, you are rewriting your future. Mental toughness is not gifted, it is earned. Earned in the early mornings when you rise tired but still move. Earned in the late nights when you want to stop but finish anyway. Earned in the countless moments where you choose strength over weakness. And once you earn it, no one can take it from you. It becomes part of who you are. That is the power of mental toughness. It is the reason why some keep going long after others have quit. It is the reason why ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. If you build it, you will have the strength to keep moving no matter how tired life makes you. And with that strength, there is no goal too far, no obstacle too heavy, and no dream beyond reach.
Chapter 3. Learn to listen deeply so people feel valued. Most people think communication is about talking. They believe if they can speak well, make their point, or sound convincing, then they've mastered it. But the truth is, the deepest form of communication is not in speaking, it is in listening. The ability to listen with full attention, with patience, and with genuine care is one of the rarest and most powerful skills a person can develop. People don't remember every word you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. And one of the greatest ways to make another person feel valued is by showing them that you are listening to them with all of your focus. Listening deeply is not the same as hearing. Hearing is passive. It happens automatically when someone speaks. But listening deeply requires effort, presence, and intention. It means you put aside your urge to interrupt. You silence the voice in your head that is already preparing your response. You choose to give your full attention to the person in front of you. When you do this, you give them something rare in today's world. You give them your presence. And presence is one of the most valuable gifts you can offer. Think about how often people feel invisible. In workplaces, in families, even in friendships, individuals often carry the silent weight of not being heard. Their opinions are brushed aside, their feelings ignored, their experiences overlooked. That lack of recognition leaves scars. It creates distance in relationships, frustration in teams, and isolation in personal lives. But when you make someone feel that what they say matters, you heal that gap. You give them dignity. You remind them that they count. Listening deeply also reveals truth. Many people do not express themselves clearly the first time. Sometimes their words are layered with hesitation, fear, or lack of confidence. If you are only half listening, you miss the meaning beneath their words. But if you pay attention not just to the words, but also to their tone, their pauses, their expressions, you understand what they are really saying. And understanding builds trust. Trust is the foundation of every strong relationship, whether in business or in personal life. Without trust, communication is shallow. With trust, communication becomes transformative. One of the best ways to listen deeply is to slow down. The pace of life is fast. Phones, notifications, tasks, and responsibilities pull your attention in 100 directions. When you are with someone and you slow down enough to really focus on them, they feel it. They notice the difference. It's in the way you make eye contact. It's in the way you let them finish their thoughts without rushing them. It's in the way you ask questions to understand better instead of waiting for your chance to speak. That slowing down is a signal that they matter to you. Listening also requires humility. When you truly listen, you admit that you don't have all the answers. You open yourself to learn from someone else's perspective. Too many people listen only to reply or to defend their own position. That kind of listening is shallow and self-centered. But when you listen with humility, you allow yourself to be changed by the conversation. You see the world from a different angle. You expand your understanding. You strengthen the bond between you and the other person. Deep listening is especially powerful in moments of conflict. When people disagree, the natural instinct is to argue harder, to raise your voice, or to prove the other person wrong. But that rarely leads to resolution. Often it only deepens division. What dissolves conflict is when one person has the courage to stop and truly listen, to say without words, "I care about what you feel, I want to understand before I judge." That kind of listening diffuses tension. It opens the door for compromise. It makes both sides feel respected. And respect is often all people really want in the middle of disagreement. To listen deeply, you must also discipline your environment. That means putting the phone away when someone is speaking to you. That means turning off distractions and choosing to be fully there. Nothing kills connection faster than trying to have a conversation with someone who keeps glancing at a screen. It sends the message, "This phone is more important than you." But when you put distractions aside, you send the opposite message. You say, "Right now you are the most important." That message creates closeness that cannot be faked. Listening is also about remembering. When someone tells you something, even something small, remembering it later shows that you truly care. If a coworker tells you their child has a big exam, and you ask about it the next day, you've shown more than politeness, you've shown value. If a friend shares their struggle and you check on them later, you prove that you didn't just hear them, you carried their words with you. Remembering details makes people feel that their life matters beyond the moment they spoke it. One of the overlooked aspects of deep listening is silence. Most people are uncomfortable with pauses. They rush to fill every gap in conversation. But silence is powerful. Sometimes, when you give space, people reveal what they were afraid to say at first. They dig deeper into their own thoughts. They trust you enough to let vulnerability surface. By being patient with silence, you give them room to share at a level they rarely reach. And what comes out in those moments is often the most important part of the conversation. There is also a personal benefit to listening deeply. It trains your mind to be more focused. It develops your patience. It teaches you to control the impulse to dominate a conversation. These qualities make you a better leader, a better partner, a better parent, a better friend. The person who knows how to listen deeply is often the person everyone trusts. Because people feel safe in their presence. They know they won't be dismissed, ignored, or judged too quickly. That safety is priceless. Building this skill is not difficult, but it does take practice. Start by paying attention to your habits. Do you interrupt often? Do you drift off in your thoughts while others are talking? Do you check your phone or glance around the room? Becoming aware of these habits is the first step to change. Then practice the discipline of pausing before responding. Give yourself a moment to absorb what the other person said fully. Show through your body language that you are engaged. Nodding slightly, leaning forward, maintaining eye contact. These signals tell the other person that you are fully present. Another way to improve is to ask clarifying questions. Instead of assuming you know what they mean, show curiosity. Say things like, "Can you explain that more?" or "What did you feel in that moment?" These questions not only give them space to open up more, but they also prove that you are genuinely interested in understanding. That interest communicates value. Listening deeply is not just a social skill. It is a life skill. It determines the quality of your relationships. It shapes how people see you. It influences how much trust and respect you earn. The person who listens deeply will always have stronger connections than the one who only talks. Because at the end of the day, every human being wants to be seen and heard. If you can give that to others, you create bonds that last a lifetime. Think about the leaders you admire, the friends you trust most, the people whose presence comforts you. Chances are they are not the ones who talk endlessly about themselves. They are the ones who made you feel important. They are the ones who listened to you when you needed it most. They gave you the space to express yourself and made you feel understood. That is the power of listening deep. And here's the truth. You don't have to be born with this ability. You don't need any special gift. You just need the discipline to practice it daily. Decide that when people speak to you, you will treat their words as important. Decide that you will stop letting your mind wander. Decide that you will show the people around you that they matter enough for you to listen. If you do this consistently, people will feel the difference, and your influence will grow in ways you can't measure. Deep listening changes you too. When you listen,
You collect wisdom. You see life through the stories of others. You gain insight into struggles and victories that you may never experience personally. You grow in empathy, compassion, and understanding. Those qualities make you stronger, not weaker. They allow you to connect at a deeper level with anyone, from any background in any situation. That ability is rare, and rare skills always carry great value. In the end, listening deeply is about humanity. It's about recognizing that every person you meet carries experiences, dreams, fears, and feelings that deserve respect. When you listen, you honor their humanity. You remind them they are not invisible. You remind them they can. That reminder might be the very thing that strengthens their courage, lifts their spirit, or renews their hope, and that is no small gift. So build this skill with intention. Train yourself to listen more than you speak. Put your full attention on the people around you. Remove distractions. Embrace silence. Ask questions. Remember details and listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. When you do, you will notice that people open up to you more, trust you more, and respect you more. You will become someone who not only speaks wisdom, but draws it out of others as well. And perhaps most importantly, you will give people something they desperately need in a noisy, distracted world. The feeling that they matter. That feeling is unforgettable. It stays with them long after the conversation ends. And when you give that gift consistently, you don't just improve your relationships, you elevate your entire life.
Chapter 4. Train your focus to finish tasks without distraction. The ability to focus is one of the most important skills you can develop if you want to achieve anything meaningful in life. Every day, you are surrounded by distractions pulling at your attention: messages, calls, notifications, endless entertainment, and the constant noise of the world. If you give in to these distractions, your time disappears and your goals remain unfinished. But if you train your mind to stay on one task until it is complete, you create a level of progress and power that few people ever experience. Focus is not something you are born with. It is something you train, something you strengthen, and something you must protect with discipline. The first thing to understand about focus is that your attention is limited. You cannot give it to everything at once. If you try, you end up doing a little of everything and finishing nothing. Most people live like this. They start tasks, jump between activities, and wonder why they feel busy, but see no results. The problem is not a lack of effort, but a lack of concentrated effort. The brain works best when it is allowed to go deep into one thing without interruption. When you give a task your full attention, your mind becomes sharper, faster, and more creative. You begin to enter a state where work feels natural and productivity flows. But that state is fragile, and every small distraction pulls you out of it. Training focus begins with creating the right environment. If your surroundings are filled with interruptions, no amount of willpower will keep you fully engaged. You must take responsibility for shaping your space so it supports concentration. That means removing unnecessary noise, turning off notifications, and putting away anything that does not belong to the task at hand. It also means having the tools you need ready before you begin, so you are not constantly stopping to look for something. When your environment is clean and prepared, your mind can relax into the work instead of fighting through constant interference. But environment alone is not enough. You must also train your brain to resist the temptation of switching tasks. Each time you shift your attention, even for a few seconds, your brain takes time to return to full focus. The more often you switch, the weaker your concentration becomes. This is why multitasking is a trap. It makes you feel like you are achieving more, but in reality, it slows you down and lowers the quality of your work. True productivity comes from monotasking, choosing one priority and staying with it until it is finished, or until the time you set for it is complete. That single discipline can double or triple your effectiveness. To build this discipline, start with small blocks of time. Tell yourself, for the next 25 minutes, I will give my full attention to this task. Set a timer if you need to. When the time is up, take a short break. Then repeat. Over time, your ability to focus for longer stretches will grow. The brain adapts to what you train it to do. If you constantly jump around, it learns distraction. If you consistently stay with one thing, it learns concentration. This is training, just like physical exercise. The more you practice, the stronger your focus muscle becomes. Another important part of focus is clarity. You cannot stay concentrated on something vague. If you sit down to work, but you don't know exactly what you are trying to accomplish, your mind will wander. Before you begin, define your task clearly. Ask yourself, what do I need to complete in this session? The clearer the goal, the easier it is to hold your attention. A foggy task invites distraction. A specific task sharpens your mind. Focus also requires energy. When you are tired, your concentration collapses. This is why taking care of your body matters so much. Sleep, nutrition, and movement all affect your mental sharpness. If you want strong focus, you cannot neglect your health. A clear and energized body supports a clear and energized mind. Too many people try to force themselves to focus when what they really need is better rest or healthier habits. If you treat your body poorly, your ability to focus will always be weak. One of the most dangerous enemies of focus is unfinished work. Every task you start and do not finish stays open in your mind. These open loops drain your attention and make it harder to focus on what is in front of you. That is why you must train yourself to finish what you begin. Even if the task is small, complete it before moving to the next. Each completion gives you a sense of progress and frees your mind to concentrate fully on the next challenge. Completion builds confidence, and confidence strengthens focus. You must also learn to say no. Every request, every invitation, every new task competes for your attention. If you say yes to everything, you scatter your focus across too many things. Toughness is not just about working hard. It is also about protecting your attention from being stolen. Saying no to what does not matter is the only way to say yes to what truly does. Protecting your time is protecting your focus, and protecting your focus is protecting your future. Distraction is not just external, it is internal. Your own thoughts can pull you away from the task. You may sit down to work and suddenly think about what you forgot to do yesterday, what might go wrong tomorrow, or what someone else thinks of you. These wandering thoughts steal as much focus as external interruptions. To train against them, practice awareness. Each time your mind drifts, notice it without judgment, and then bring it back to the task. This simple act, repeated often, strengthens your ability to return to focus quickly. You will never eliminate wandering thoughts completely, but you can train yourself not to get lost in them. Another practice that builds focus is creating rituals. If you start your work in a random way each day, your mind takes longer to settle. But if you have a consistent routine, a specific place, a specific setup, a specific action, you send a signal to your brain that it is time to focus. Over time, your brain learns to enter concentration faster whenever you perform that ritual. This is why athletes, musicians, and top performers often have pre-performance routines. Those routines anchor their focus. You can create the same kind of anchor for your own work. Deep focus also requires passion. It is easier to stay engaged in something you truly care about. That doesn't mean you will love every task, but it does mean connecting each task to a bigger purpose. Ask yourself, why does this matter? How does finishing this move me closer to my goal? When your work feels connected to your future, focus becomes easier. When your work feels meaningless, distraction becomes tempting. Building focus is not just about discipline. It is also about meaning. Focus is not about working endless. It is about working deeply for a set time, then recovering. Pushing yourself without breaks only leads to burnout and loss of concentration.
The best performers understand the balance between intense focus and intentional rest. That balance keeps energy high and attention sharp. Breaks are not a weakness, they are part of the strategy. But breaks must be deliberate, not an excuse to drift into endless distraction. Stand up, move, breathe, reset, and then return to work with renewed focus. One of the greatest rewards of training focus is the confidence it gives you when you know you can sit down and complete something without distraction. You trust yourself more. That trust grows into pride, and pride becomes motivation. You no longer doubt whether you will finish, you know you will, because you've built the skill to focus until it is done. That certainty separates you from the majority who live in a haze of half-finished projects and constant interruptions. Focus also affects how others see you. When people notice that you are fully present, that you give them undivided attention, that you finish what you start, they respect you more. They know they can depend on you. Dependability builds opportunities. Opportunities build growth. Growth builds success. All of it begins with the simple but powerful skill of focus. The world is filled with distractions designed to pull you away from what matters. If you do not train your focus, you will live at the mercy of these distractions. But if you discipline your attention, you become the master of your time and your results. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every victory is built on the foundation of sustained focus. So train your mind daily. Guard your environment, finish what you start, say no to what doesn't matter. Take care of your body, so your mind can stay sharp. Build rituals that anchor your concentration. Connect every task to a greater purpose, and above all, stay with one thing until it is complete. If you make this your practice, you will separate yourself from the scattered, the distracted, and the unfocused. You will build a life of progress, clarity, and achievement. When you learn to train your focus to finish tasks without distraction, you are not just completing work, you are building character. You are building trust in yourself. You are building the strength to direct your life where you want it to go. And once you have that strength, no amount of noise, no number of interruptions, and no level of difficulty can take it from you.
Chapter 5. Practice self-control to avoid choices that harm you. Every person faces moments when a decision stands between growth and regret. Those decisions are not always dramatic. Sometimes they are small daily choices. The extra food you don't need, the money you shouldn't spend, the words you shouldn't say, the time you waste when you promised yourself you'd work. In those moments, what protects your future is not luck, not talent, not even intelligence. What protects your future is self-control. It is the ability to pause, to hold back, and to direct yourself toward what is better instead of what is easier. Without self-control, even the most gifted person can destroy their opportunities. With it, even someone with average ability can build a strong and successful life. Self-control is not about denying yourself everything. It is about learning to master your impulses so they don't master you. Every day urges appear. The urge to quit when you feel tired. The urge to react when you feel angry. The urge to indulge when you know you shouldn't. If you act on every urge, you will live in chaos. But if you learn to pause, to breathe, and to choose wisely, you build order, strength, and confidence. That pause may last only a few seconds, but those seconds often determine whether you create progress or regret. The first step to building self-control is awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Start paying attention to the moments when you lose control. Notice the patterns. Do you overeat at night when you're stressed? Do you spend money impulsively when you're bored? Do you lash out in anger when someone challenges you? Each of these patterns leaves a trail of consequences. The health that declines, the debt that grows, the relationships that weaken. If you become honest about your patterns, you can begin to create change. Without honesty, you'll continue repeating the same mistakes. Once you identify these moments, the next step is to slow them down. Most bad choices happen fast. The urge appears, the action follows, and only afterward do you feel regret. Self-control means breaking that chain. Insert a pause. Before you eat what you don't need, before you spend what you don't have, before you say what you'll later regret. Pause. Even a few seconds of delay gives your mind the chance to step in before your impulse takes over. That small delay is one of the most powerful tools for self-control. But pausing alone is not enough. You must replace the harmful choice with a better one. If you simply try to suppress your impulses without a replacement, they grow stronger. For example, instead of reaching for junk food when you feel stressed, replace it with a walk, deep breathing, or a healthier snack. Instead of scrolling endlessly on your phone, replace it with reading something meaningful or writing down your thoughts. The key is substitution. You're not just saying no to the harmful choice, you're saying yes to a better choice. Over time, these substitutions become new habits, and habits are what carry you when willpower is weak. Another essential part of self-control is setting boundaries. If you constantly expose yourself to temptation, you will eventually give in. Discipline is easier when you remove the triggers that weaken you. If you know certain people encourage you to make poor decisions, limit your time with them. If you know keeping junk food in the house leads to overeating, stop buying it. If you know social media wastes your time, remove the apps or set strict limits. Self-control is not just about fighting battles, it's also about avoiding battles you don't need to fight. The easiest temptation to resist is the one you never see. You must also learn to control your emotions. Emotions are powerful drivers of action, and when they run unchecked, they push you into harmful choices. Anger can destroy relationships in seconds. Jealousy can poison your peace. Fear can paralyze your progress. Practicing self-control means recognizing your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. You can feel anger without exploding. You can feel fear without retreating. You can feel desire without acting recklessly. The discipline is not in erasing emotions, but in directing them. This skill gives you power over your own life, instead of handing that power to whatever mood you happen to be in. Self-control also requires a vision of the future. If you live only for the moment, you will always choose what feels good now, even if it destroys you later. But if you connect your daily choices to the bigger picture, you create the strength to resist temptation. Ask yourself, will this action take me closer to my goals or further away? When you tie your decisions to your future, you see more clearly. The short-term pleasure loses its power when compared to long-term growth. The person who can sacrifice a little now for a greater future later will always come out ahead. The practice of self-control is also built through small wins. Don't expect to master it overnight. Start with one area of your life. Maybe it's controlling your spending for a week. Maybe it's committing to healthier meals for a month. Maybe it's practicing patience when you feel frustrated. Each small victory proves to your mind that you are capable of discipline. Those victories build momentum, and momentum strengthens your self-belief. Before long, you will trust yourself more. You will know that when temptation comes, you can resist it, because you've done it before. Another important truth is that self-control is easier when you take care of your body and mind. Lack of sleep, poor diet, and constant stress weaken your discipline. You've probably noticed that when you are exhausted, it's harder to resist cravings or control your temper. This is not a coincidence. Your physical state affects your mental strength. If you want to practice self-control consistently, give your body rest, fuel it with proper nutrition,
and create routines that reduce unnecessary stress. When your body is stable, your mind has more energy to fight impulses. You must also be prepared for setbacks. No one practices perfect self-control every day. You will slip at times. You will make choices that harm you. The danger is not in the slip, but in letting the slip turn into a pattern of quitting. When you lose control, don't hide from it. Learn from it. Ask, what triggered this? How can I avoid it next time? Then get back on track quickly. Self-control grows stronger when you turn failures into lessons instead of excuses. One of the greatest rewards of practicing self-control is the confidence it gives you. When you know you can resist harmful choices, you walk with a different kind of strength. You trust yourself. You respect yourself. That self-respect builds a foundation of pride and dignity. And when you respect yourself, others respect you too. People trust those who have mastered themselves, because mastery shows reliability. If you cannot control your own impulses, how can anyone else trust you with responsibility? But if you demonstrate control, opportunities open, because people know you are dependable. Self-control is also contagious. When others see you living with discipline, it inspires them to raise their standards. Your children notice when you choose patience over anger. Your friends notice when you choose health over indulgence. Your co-workers notice when you choose focus over distraction. Without saying a word, your actions teach. You become an example of strength in a world where many give in to weakness. That example can have more influence than any advice you give with words. Practicing self-control is not about perfection, it is about progress. Each day you resist one harmful choice, you protect your future. Each day you replace one bad habit with a good one, you build a stronger foundation. Each day you pause, reflect, and choose wisely, you move further away from regret and closer to respect. Over time, these small acts of control create massive results. They shape the person you become and the life you live. Imagine two paths. One is built by giving in to every impulse. That path leads to frustration, regret, and weakness. The other is built by practicing self-control. That path leads to health, stability, respect, and success. The difference between the two is not talent or chance. It is simply the ability to control yourself when it matters most. Every choice you make is a vote for the path you are building. So commit yourself to this practice. Train yourself to pause before reacting. Remove the triggers that lead to poor choices. Replace harmful habits with healthier ones. Connect your actions to your future. Strengthen your body so your mind has energy. Learn from your mistakes without quitting, and celebrate the small victories that prove your growth. When you practice self-control to avoid choices that harm you, you give yourself the gift of freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from chaos, freedom from being controlled by urges and impulse. You step into a life guided not by weakness, but by strength. And in that strength, you discover the power to create the future you truly want.
Chapter 6. Strengthen confidence by doing hard things every day. Confidence is not something that falls from the sky. It is not something you wake up with one day and suddenly feel forever. Confidence is something you build, and the way you build it is through action. Every time you do something difficult, every time you face discomfort and finish what you started, you strengthen your belief in yourself. People often wait to feel confident before they attempt hard things, but the truth is reversed. You gain confidence by doing the hard things first. It is the struggle, the discipline, the act of pushing beyond what feels easy that gives you proof you are capable, and proof is what creates real confidence. Doing hard things daily does not mean chasing extreme challenges every morning. It means deliberately choosing the actions that stretch you. Maybe it is waking up earlier than you want. Maybe it is finishing work when distractions call you. Maybe it is saying no when it would be easier to say yes. These are not glamorous choices, but they are the bricks that build self-belief. Every time you face resistance and push through, you collect evidence that you can rely on yourself. That evidence stacks up until your mind can no longer deny your own strength. The reason hard things build confidence is because they create contrast. If everything in your life is easy, you never discover what you're capable of. Ease keeps you fragile. Difficulty reveals resilience. When you choose the harder path, you prove to yourself that you are not limited to comfort. You find out that pain does not break you, that fear does not control you, and that doubt does not define you. That discovery is the seed of unshakable confidence. Consider how most people live. They avoid struggle. They run from effort. They search for shortcuts. They choose comfort over challenge. And because of that, their confidence stays low. They have nothing to point to when life tests them. They cannot say, "I've done harder things," but when you build the habit of facing difficulty daily, you walk into challenges with strength already proven. You don't need to convince yourself with empty words, because you already have proof from your actions. That is why doing hard things is more than practice. It is preparation for the bigger battles ahead. One way to strengthen confidence is to deliberately face tasks that scare you. Fear is often the signal that something matters. When you feel nervous about speaking, about making a decision, about stepping into the unknown, that is where growth waits. If you only do what feels safe, your confidence shrinks. But if you step into the situations that make you uneasy and survive them, your confidence grows. You realize fear is not a wall, it is just a test. The more tests you pass, the stronger your confidence becomes. Another way to grow confidence through hard things is consistency. Anyone can do something hard once, but the person who does it daily builds a deeper strength. When you wake up and face difficulty again and again, you create an identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who gives up and start seeing yourself as someone who always finds a way. That identity shapes how you act in every area of life. Confidence is not just a feeling, it is who you believe you are, and the only way to change that belief is through repeated proof. Doing hard things also builds resilience. Life will not always go your way. Plans will fail, people will disappoint you. Obstacles will appear without warning. If you are not used to difficulty, these moments will crush you. But if you have trained by doing hard things every day, you face them with calm. You have already taught yourself that discomfort is survivable. You already know that pain is temporary and growth is permanent. That resilience makes you unshakable. It gives you the confidence to face life without fear of collapse. You should also recognize that hard things often come in small packages. Waking up without pressing snooze is hard. Turning down unhealthy food is hard. Spending time learning instead of wasting hours on entertainment is hard. These choices seem small, but they are powerful. Every one of them is a chance to prove strength over weakness. The more you take those chances, the more unbreakable your confidence becomes. Confidence is not built in a single moment of glory. It is built in the daily grind of small, difficult decisions made consistently. Hard things also reveal discipline. Discipline is the backbone of confidence. If you know you can control yourself, if you know you can push through when your mind screams to quit, then you carry that confidence into everything else. You don't wonder if you can achieve your goals. You know you can because you have trained your discipline through countless small battles, and each victory, no matter how minor, adds another layer of trust in yourself. Another benefit of doing hard things is the pride it creates. When you finish something that challenged you, you feel a surge of self-respect. That pride is not arrogance, it is recognition of your own growth. You know you chose the path most people avoid. You know you proved something to yourself. That feeling lingers. It motivates you to face the next challenge.
Over time, pride transforms into confidence, and confidence transforms into power. But to build this power, you must stay consistent even when no one is watching. Public victories are easy to celebrate, but private discipline is where true confidence is born. The early morning workouts, the late night study sessions, the quiet sacrifices that no one else applauds, those are the hard things that shape you. They prove that you can rely on yourself without needing recognition. And when you know you can rely on yourself, you carry unshakable confidence everywhere you go. Doing hard things also teaches patience. Confidence is not instant. It grows slowly as you stack evidence over time. Each challenge adds a piece. Each effort strengthens the foundation. If you expect confidence to appear overnight, you will give up too soon. But if you understand that every day you do something hard is one more step forward, you will stay patient and persistent. And that persistence creates a confidence that cannot be shaken by setback. Another way daily hard things strengthen confidence is by expanding your comfort zone. What once felt impossible becomes normal after enough repetition. Speaking in front of a group, running a long distance, saying no to temptations, these may feel overwhelming at first, but as you practice them, they lose their power. Your confidence grows because you've proven that you can do what once felt beyond reach. That expansion continues as long as you keep challenging yourself. The more you expand, the more unstoppable you become. You must also realize that confidence from doing hard things is not just personal, it influences how others see you. People respect those who demonstrate strength, perseverance, and courage. When they see you facing challenges daily, they trust you more. They know you can be counted on. That trust creates opportunities. People want to work with, follow, and support those who show resilience. So your confidence not only strengthens your inner world, it opens doors in the outer world too. One of the greatest benefits of this practice is the removal of self-doubt. Doubt thrives in inaction. When you avoid difficulty, your mind fills the gap with fear. You begin to question whether you can handle challenges. But when you face those challenges and overcome them, doubt loses power. You no longer wonder if you are capable. You have already proven that you are. That is why hard things are not punishment. They are the cure for doubt. If you want to apply this skill, start simple. Each day, choose one thing that challenges you. It might be physical, mental, or emotional. Stick with it until it is complete. Tomorrow, choose another. Don't chase perfection, chase progress. Over time, these small victories stack up into a mountain of proof that you are strong, capable, and reliable. That mountain becomes the foundation of your confidence. The world rewards those who can stay strong in difficulty. It is easy to give up, to complain, or to hide when things get hard. But those who step into the hard things every day build a rare strength. That strength gives them an edge in every area of life. They get promoted at work because they can handle pressure. They build deeper relationships because they can endure conflict. They achieve goals because they refuse to quit when it gets tough. Confidence is not a luxury in these situations. It is a requirement. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident before you act. Step into the hard things today. Face the resistance, embrace the discomfort, and finish what you start. Every time you do, you prove to yourself that you can, and that proof is the foundation of confidence. Do it daily, and you will build a confidence so strong that no obstacle, no setback, and no challenge can take it away. Confidence built this way is permanent, because it is rooted in evidence. It is not fragile. It is not borrowed from someone else's opinion, and it is not dependent on circumstances. It is yours, earned through discipline, sacrifice, and perseverance. When you strengthen confidence by doing hard things every day, you gain a power that stays with you for life. And with that power there is nothing you cannot face, nothing you cannot build, and nothing you cannot become.
Chapter 7. Manage your energy. so you never feel burned out. Energy is the fuel that carries you through life, and without it even the greatest plans collapse. Many people think the reason they fail to achieve their goals is a lack of time, but in reality, it is often a lack of energy. You can have 24 hours in a day, but if your body and mind are drained, those hours slip through your fingers without progress. Managing your energy is not about squeezing more into your schedule. It is about making sure the strength to perform is always available when you need it. If you learn how to use your energy wisely, you can accomplish more in less time and protect yourself from the exhaustion that leads to burnout. The first step to managing energy is awareness. Pay attention to how your body and mind respond throughout the day. Everyone has natural rhythms, times when they feel alert, strong and creative, and times when they feel sluggish, distracted, or weak. Most people ignore these signals and push through blindly, but those who pay attention can align their most important work with their highest energy periods. If your mind is sharp in the morning, use that time for deep work instead of wasting it on meaningless tasks. If your body slows down in the afternoon, schedule lighter activities during that time. Energy management begins with listening to yourself and arranging your life accordingly. Sleep is the foundation of energy. Without proper rest, no amount of motivation will save you. Yet too many people treat sleep as optional, cutting hours off the night in an effort to get more done. What actually happens is the opposite. Productivity drops, focus disappears, and mistakes increase. 1 hour of high-quality energy in the morning is worth far more than 3 hours of sluggish half-effort late at night. Protect your sleep as if it were your greatest investment, because in many ways it is. Go to bed at a consistent time, wake up at a consistent time, and give your body the rest it needs to recharge. When your sleep is steady, your energy is steady. Food is another critical source of energy. The body is an engine, and what you put into it determines how it performs. Heavy, processed meals slow you down. Excess sugar gives you a temporary spike, followed by a crash that leaves you drained. But nutritious, balanced meals provide fuel that lasts. Eating smaller, cleaner meals throughout the day can keep your energy level more consistent. Drinking enough water is just as important, because even mild dehydration lowers your focus and endurance. Treat every bite and every drink as a choice that affects not just your body, but also the energy you will have to face the challenges of the day. Movement is equally essential. A sedentary lifestyle drains energy, while regular activity recharges it. People often think exercising will make them more tired, but the truth is that it generates more vitality. Even a short walk can refresh your mind and body. Physical training builds endurance, strengthens resilience, and increases the stamina you need to avoid burnout. It does not have to be extreme. What matters is consistency. Move daily, stretch your muscles, and activate your body. The energy you create through movement flows into every other area of your life. Managing energy also means managing focus. Every time you shift attention between tasks, you drain mental energy. Constantly checking your phone, jumping between projects, or reacting to every message leaves your mind fragmented and tired. To conserve energy, concentrate on one task at a time. Finish it before moving to the next. The discipline of focus saves energy that would otherwise be wasted on constant switching. Protect your attention as carefully as you protect your physical strength, because mental energy is just as limited. Another factor that influences energy is emotional balance. Stress, worry, and negativity drain energy faster than almost anything else. Carrying anger or fear consumes mental resources that could be used for progress. To protect your energy, you must learn how to release what you cannot control. Simple practices like journaling, Deep breathing or a few quiet moments of reflection can reset your emotional state and return energy to where it belongs. Surrounding yourself with supportive people also protects you, because the wrong environment can drain your energy just as much as poor sleep or poor nutrition. Choose carefully who you give your attention to, because some people recharge you while others exhaust you. One powerful habit to manage energy is taking breaks before you are completely drained. Many people push themselves until they collapse, and by that point recovery takes much longer. But if you step away for a few minutes at regular intervals, you maintain steadier energy throughout the day. These breaks don't need to be long. Standing up, stretching or taking a short walk can be enough. The key is to pause before exhaustion arrives. Think of it as recharging a battery. If you wait until it is completely empty, the recharge takes longer. But if you top it up regularly, it stays ready for use. Energy is also affected by alignment with your values. When you spend time on things that don't matter to you, you feel drained even if the work is easy. When you spend time on things that align with your goals and passions, you feel energized even when the work is hard. This is why people can work long hours on something they love and still feel strong, while dragging themselves through a short task they don't care about. To manage your energy well, you must evaluate how you spend your time and cut out activities that steal energy without giving meaning. Replace them with tasks that give you a sense of progress, purpose, and contribution. Another tool to protect your energy is learning to say no. Every new commitment takes energy, and if you keep saying yes to everything, you spread yourself thin. Eventually, you burn out not because you are lazy, but because you tried to do too much. Saying no is not selfish, it is strategic. It allows you to conserve energy for the things that matter most. If you want to live with sustained energy, you cannot afford to give it away to meaningless obligations. Protect it like your most valuable resource, because technology is one of the biggest thieves of energy in today's world. Constant notifications, endless scrolling, and digital distractions drain the mind without giving anything in return. If you want to manage your energy, you must set boundaries with technology. Limit your screen time. Set times when you disconnect completely. Use your devices intentionally instead of letting them use you. When you cut down on digital noise, you'll find your mind calmer, your energy higher, and your productivity stronger. Energy management also requires planning. If you wake up with no clear direction, you waste energy deciding what to do. But if you plan your priorities in advance, you use energy on execution instead of indecision. Planning does not have to be complicated. Write down the top 3 tasks for tomorrow before you go to bed. When you wake up, you know exactly where to focus your energy. This simple act removes stress, conserves mental energy, and creates momentum. Another way to protect energy is through gratitude. Gratitude lifts your spirit and energizes your mind. When you focus on what you appreciate, you shift attention away from frustration and worry. This shift reduces stress, which in turn preserves your energy. Taking a few minutes each day to reflect on what you are grateful for can be one of the simplest but most effective ways to keep energy levels steady. It is not just about feeling good, it is about keeping your mental and emotional fuel tank full. One of the most overlooked parts of energy management is environment design. The spaces you live and work in either recharge you or drain you. A cluttered, chaotic space eats away at focus and energy, while a clean and organized space helps you feel calm and capable. Natural light, fresh air, and a clear workspace all make a difference. You don't have to design a perfect environment, but you should design one that supports your energy instead of fighting against it. Energy management is also about pacing yourself. Burnout often happens when people sprint through life as if it were a short race. But life is a marathon. You must learn to distribute effort wisely. Some days will demand more,
But not every day should be pushed to the limit. If you try to give maximum effort all the time, exhaustion will catch you. Confidence and success come from the ability to sustain effort for years, not just weeks. That sustainability is only possible when you respect your energy limits and pace yourself with discipline. The reward of managing your energy well is freedom. Freedom from exhaustion, freedom from burnout, freedom from the cycle of pushing too hard and collapsing. Instead, you live with steadiness. You wake up with strength, you move through the day with clarity, and you end with satisfaction instead of emptiness. That freedom is not just about feeling good, it is about unlocking your potential. A well-managed life of energy gives you the power to perform at your best without sacrificing your health or happiness. So manage your energy carefully. Protect your sleep, fuel your body wisely, move daily, and release unnecessary stress. Focus on what matters, align your work with your values, and remove the distractions that drain you. Take breaks before you collapse, plan your priorities, and create an environment that supports you. Pace yourself for the long journey, not just the short sprint. When you live this way, you do not just avoid burnout, you build a life of strength, clarity, and lasting achievement.
Chapter 8. Develop gratitude to stay positive in daily struggles. Gratitude is one of the simplest and most powerful skills you can develop if you want to remain steady through the struggles of life. Every day brings challenges, work that drains you, people who test your patience, setbacks that discourage you, and responsibilities that feel heavier than you expected. In those moments, it is easy to become negative, to complain, or to focus only on what is missing. But gratitude shifts your perspective. It does not remove the struggle, but it gives you the strength to face it with a positive mind and an open heart. When you live with gratitude, you notice what is good, even in the middle of what is difficult. That awareness changes how you feel, how you act, and how you experience life. Many people believe gratitude is something you practice only when everything is going well. But true gratitude is tested when life is not easy. It is easy to say thank you when you get the promotion, when your health is strong, when your relationships are thriving. The challenge is to find gratitude when things are not working the way you want. Gratitude in the middle of struggle is what builds resilience. It is the anchor that keeps you from being pulled under by negativity. The practice of gratitude starts with attention. Most people move so fast through their day that they fail to notice the small blessings around them, the roof above their head, the food on their table, the people who care for them, the opportunities they still have to improve their life. These are all gifts, but because they are familiar, they are overlooked. Gratitude requires slowing down enough to pay attention. It means taking a few moments each day to recognize what you already have instead of obsessing over what you don't. That simple shift can lighten the weight of any struggle. One of the strongest benefits of gratitude is that it interrupts negative thinking. When life feels heavy, the mind often falls into cycles of worry, anger, or frustration. Gratitude breaks that cycle. It forces your focus towards something good, no matter how small. Maybe it is the smile of a child, the support of a friend, or even the chance to try again after failure. These moments remind you that life is not only pain and difficulty. There is always something worth appreciating, and finding it gives you perspective. Gratitude also changes your emotional state. Negative emotions drain energy and cloud judgment. When you shift into gratitude, your emotions soften. You feel calmer, more hopeful, and more capable. That emotional shift does not solve the problem immediately, but it strengthens you to face it without losing yourself. People who practice gratitude consistently are not free of struggles. They simply carry a different attitude toward them. That attitude becomes their strength. Developing gratitude is not complicated, but it does require intention. One powerful practice is to write down 3 things you are thankful for each day. They don't have to be dramatic. In fact, the smaller they are, the more powerful the practice becomes. Writing them down turns gratitude from a vague feeling into a concrete action. Over time, your brain begins to notice blessings more naturally because you have trained it to look for them. That training rewires how you respond to challenges. Instead of focusing only on what is missing, you begin to notice what is still working. Gratitude is also expressed through action. Saying thank you is one step, but showing appreciation through your behavior is even more powerful. When someone helps you, return the support. When life gives you opportunities, use them fully instead of wasting them. Gratitude is not only a feeling, it is a way of living. It is choosing to treat people kindly, to value what you have, and to give back when you can. This creates a cycle of positivity that strengthens both you and those around you. Another important aspect of gratitude is perspective. Struggles often feel bigger than they really are because we magnify them in our minds. Gratitude shrinks them by reminding us of the bigger picture. For example, if work is stressful, gratitude reminds you that at least you have work to provide for yourself. If your body is tired, gratitude reminds you that you are still alive to experience another day. This is not about ignoring problems, but about refusing to let them blind you to everything else. Gratitude puts problems in their proper place. They are challenges to overcome, not the whole of life. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. People want to feel appreciated. When you express gratitude for others, you make them feel valued. That builds trust, loyalty, and connection. Think about how you feel when someone genuinely thanks you for something you did. It creates warmth and encourages you to do more. In the same way, when you show gratitude to the people in your life, you not only lift them up, you also improve your bond with them. Relationships built on gratitude are stronger because they are fueled by respect and recognition. One of the deeper powers of gratitude is that it creates meaning out of hardship. Struggles feel less overwhelming when you find something valuable in them. Maybe a failure teaches you patience, maybe rejection pushes you toward a better opportunity, maybe pain makes you appreciate health more deeply. Gratitude allows you to see lessons inside challenges. Those lessons give meaning to what would otherwise feel like wasted suffering. And when pain carries meaning, it is easier to endure. You should also understand that gratitude is a choice, not a reaction. Waiting for good things to happen before you feel grateful leaves you at the mercy of circumstances. But choosing gratitude in advance gives you control. Even when life does not go your way, you can still choose to focus on what is good. That choice empowers you. It reminds you that your attitude belongs to you, not to the situation. People who choose gratitude daily live with a steadiness that cannot be shaken by every storm. Practicing gratitude also changes the way you speak. Words carry energy, and when your language is filled with complaints, you reinforce negativity. But when your language reflects appreciation, you reinforce positivity. Saying I have to drains you. Saying I get to energizes you. This shift in language is subtle but powerful. It reminds you that what feels like a burden is often a privilege. You don't have to work, you get to. You don't have to learn, you get to. Gratitude in your words shapes gratitude in your thoughts, and that creates resilience in your life. Another benefit of gratitude is improved health. Studies show that grateful people experience lower stress, stronger immune systems, and better overall well-being. This makes sense, because gratitude reduces negative emotions that damage the body. It promotes calmness, which helps your body recover and stay strong. Energy wasted on stress is conserved when you live with appreciation. Gratitude is not just a mindset, it is medicine for both mind and body. One way to strengthen gratitude is to reflect on the past. Think about challenges you once faced that felt unbearable at the time. Now look at how far you have come. Gratitude grows when you recognize that what once seemed impossible is now behind you. You survived, you learned, and you grew. That perspective gives you confidence that current struggles will also pass.
Gratitude for the past gives hope for the present. It is also important to practice gratitude toward yourself. Too many people are harsh with themselves, focusing only on mistakes and shortcomings. But self-criticism without balance destroys confidence. Take time to appreciate the progress you have made. Appreciate the effort you put in, even if the results are not perfect yet. Gratitude toward yourself is not arrogance. It is recognition that you are trying, that you are learning, and that you are moving forward. That recognition gives you encouragement to continue instead of giving up. In daily struggles, negativity is always available. Complaints come easily, frustrations pile up, and disappointments feel heavy. But gratitude is also available, you just have to choose it. When you practice gratitude consistently, it becomes your natural response. Instead of sinking into negativity, you rise into appreciation. That rise does not erase struggle, but it gives you the strength to face it without losing your spirit. The reward of developing gratitude is peace. You feel lighter, calmer, and more optimistic, even when circumstances are not ideal. You carry less anger and more acceptance. You spend less time comparing yourself to others and more time appreciating your own path. Gratitude does not mean you stop striving for improvement. It means you stop destroying your joy in the process. You can still work hard, aim high, and pursue growth. But gratitude keeps you steady while you do it. Gratitude is a skill, and like any skill, it grows with practice. Start small. Notice the little things, write them down, speak them out, show appreciation through action, and over time, gratitude becomes your natural lens on life. When struggles appear, you will still feel them, but you will not be broken by them. Gratitude will remind you that even in the hardest moments, there is something worth holding on to. That reminder will keep you strong, positive, and moving forward no matter what you face.
Chapter 9. Grow resilience by standing up after every setback. Life does not move in a straight line. It is filled with turns, obstacles, disappointments, and delays. No matter who you are, you will face setbacks, plans that fail, goals that take longer than expected, opportunities that slip through your hands, and moments when the effort you gave does not return the reward you hoped for. These moments can be painful, but they are also unavoidable. What separates those who rise from those who stay down is resilience. Resilience is the strength to stand back up after falling, the courage to continue when progress feels broken, and the decision to keep moving forward when everything in you feels like stopping. Resilience is not about pretending you are unaffected. Everyone feels pain when they fail. Everyone feels disappointment when things do not work out. The difference lies in what you do with those feelings. Some let them consume their spirit. They dwell on the loss, they replay the mistake, and they convince themselves it is not worth trying again. Others acknowledge the pain, but they do not let it define them. They learn, they adjust, and they rise again with greater determination. That choice to rise after every fall is the essence of resilience. One of the first truths about resilience is that setbacks are not proof of weakness, they are proof of effort. You cannot fail at something you never tried. Setbacks mean you had the courage to step into the arena, to take a risk, and to pursue growth. Instead of seeing them as signs that you are not capable, see them as signs that you are moving. The only people who never experience failure are those who never attempt anything meaningful. So when setbacks come, remind yourself that they are part of the process of progress. Standing up after a setback begins with perspective. A failure often feels final in the moment. It feels like the end of the road. But when you step back, you see that it is only one chapter in a much longer story. Perspective reminds you that today's defeat does not decide tomorrow's outcome. Every successful person has a history filled with setbacks. The difference is they refused to let those setbacks become permanent. They saw them as temporary conditions, not permanent labels. When you adopt this mindset, you take away the power of failure to define you. Another key to resilience is self-belief. If you do not believe you can recover, you will stay down. Self-belief is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to act even when doubt whispers loudly. Each time you rise after falling, you strengthen that belief. You prove to yourself that pain does not mean the end, and struggle does not mean defeat. That proof builds confidence, and confidence builds resilience. Without self-belief, setbacks will break you. With it, setbacks become stepping stones to growth. To build resilience, you must also focus on what you can control. Setbacks often come with elements outside your power. Other people's choices, economic conditions, unexpected events. If you waste your energy blaming those factors, you drain yourself further. But if you put your energy into what you can do, your attitude, your effort, your next action, you take back control. Resilience grows when you stop dwelling on what is beyond your reach and start acting on what is within your hands. That focus transforms helplessness into strength. Another truth about resilience is that setbacks carry less. Hidden inside every failure is information that can guide you forward. Maybe your approach was wrong. Maybe your preparation was incomplete. Maybe your timing was off. If you ignore the lesson, you are likely to repeat the same mistake. But if you extract the lesson, the setback becomes a teacher. The people who grow the fastest are not those who avoid mistakes, but those who learn from them quickly. Each time you rise with new wisdom, your resilience deepens. Resilience also comes from flexibility. Rigidity makes setbacks heavier. If you believe there is only one path to success, you will crumble when that path closes. But if you remain flexible, you see new routes where others see only dead ends. Flexibility is not about giving up on your goal. It is about adjusting your approach until you find a way through. Setbacks often redirect you, and those redirections sometimes lead to better opportunities than you originally imagined. Resilient people stay open to change while staying committed to progress. Support is another factor in resilience. Standing up after a fall is easier when you are not alone. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage you, challenge you, and remind you of your strength makes recovery faster. But resilience also means choosing carefully who you listen to. Negative voices will pull you further down, while positive voices will lift you higher. Build an environment that supports your rise, and you will find the strength to stand more quickly after every setback. Resilience is also strengthened through discipline. When you have daily habits of discipline, setbacks do not destroy your momentum. They interrupt you, but they do not stop you. If you are disciplined in your routines, waking early, exercising, studying, practicing, you create a foundation that carries you even when emotions run low. Discipline keeps you moving forward long enough for resilience to take root. Without discipline, setbacks knock you off track completely. With discipline, setbacks are bumps in the road instead of roadblocks. Another powerful way to grow resilience is through gratitude, not for the pain itself, but for the chance to grow from it. Gratitude shifts your focus from "why me" to "what can I learn here?" That shift reduces bitterness and increases strength. When you can appreciate even the hard moments for the lessons they bring, setbacks lose their power to crush you. They become part of your journey instead of the end of it. Gratitude gives you the emotional energy to rise again. Resilience is also built through patience. Rising after a setback does not always mean bouncing back immediately. Sometimes recovery takes time. The wound must heal, the disappointment must fade, and the lesson must sink in. Impatience can lead you to rush the process,
but patience allows you to rebuild with strength. Each day you take one step forward, no matter how small, you are proving resilience. Over time, those small steps lead you back to momentum. Another aspect of resilience is redefining success. If you believe success means never failing, you will never develop resilience. But if you see success as the ability to rise again, you free yourself from the fear of setbacks. Every time you rise, you are successful, no matter how many times you fall. That redefinition gives you the courage to take more risks, to attempt more and to grow faster. Failure loses its power when you understand that the true measure of success is persistence. Resilience also requires self-compassion. Many people are harder on themselves than they would ever be on others. When they fail, they punish themselves with harsh criticism. But shame does not build resilience, it destroys it. Treat yourself with the same encouragement you would offer a friend. Recognize the mistake, learn from it, but then remind yourself that setbacks happen to everyone. Self-compassion keeps your spirit alive long enough for resilience to take over. Without it, you bury yourself in guilt and lose the will to rise. Standing up after every setback also means keeping your vision alive. Setbacks blur your view of the future. They make you doubt whether your goals are possible. In those moments, you must remind yourself of why you started. Keep your vision clear in your mind. Write it down, review it daily. The clearer your vision, the easier it is to rise after falling. Vision pulls you forward when circumstances try to hold you back. The reward of resilience is not just survival. It is strength, wisdom, and confidence. Every time you rise, you become a little tougher, a little wiser, a little more capable. You carry those gains into every new challenge. Resilience compounds over time. The more you practice it, the stronger it grows. Soon setbacks that once would have crushed you become minor bumps on your path. You face them with calm, knowing you will rise again, because rising has become part of who you are. Life will continue to bring challenges. That is guaranteed. But the choice of how you respond is always yours. You can stay down, or you can rise. You can let setbacks define you, or you can let them strengthen you. If you choose resilience, you will discover that nothing has the power to keep you down permanently. You may fall, but you will rise again, and each rise brings you closer to the life you are building, a life not free of struggle, but strong enough to thrive in spite of it.
Chapter 10. Commit to progress daily, so growth never stops. Growth is not something that happens by accident. It does not come from one lucky break, one big event, or one sudden change. Real growth is built day by day through small but consistent progress. The decision to commit to progress daily is one of the most powerful choices you can ever make, because it turns improvement into a way of life instead of an occasional effort. The truth is, people do not fail because they are incapable. Most fail because they stop progressing. They do something for a while, then quit. They start strong, then lose consistency. They aim for huge leaps, but when those leaps do not come, they give up. The key to lasting growth is not giant steps, it is steady steps taken every single day. Committing to progress daily means valuing movement over perfection. Many people never start or never continue because they are waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect opportunity. But perfection is an illusion. Progress, even small progress, builds momentum. If you improve 1% today and 1% tomorrow, the effect compounds over weeks and months until you are unrecognizable compared to where you began. That is the power of daily progress. It multiplies over time. Progress also gives meaning to your days. Without progress, life feels repetitive and heavy. You wake up, go through routines, but nothing changes, and soon you feel stuck. But when you know you are moving forward, even in small ways, life feels purposeful. You go to bed with a sense of accomplishment. You feel proud because you are building something, even if no one else notices yet. That feeling of growth fuels motivation and keeps your spirit alive. One of the strongest ways to commit to progress daily is to set clear goals. Vague wishes do not inspire consistent action. You must define exactly what you want and break it into manageable steps. Then each day, no matter how small, do something that pushes you closer to that goal. The action may be learning, practicing, building, or refining. What matters is that you move. Even a small step taken daily is better than waiting weeks to take one giant leap. To sustain progress, discipline is essential. Motivation comes and goes. There will be days when you feel excited and days when you feel tired or discouraged. If you rely only on feelings, your progress will stop the moment your emotions dip. Discipline is what carries you through those days. Discipline is the decision to act even when you don't feel like it. When you practice discipline daily, you remove the question of whether you will take action. You know you will because you have built it into who you are. Another key to daily progress is tracking your growth. When progress is slow, it is easy to believe you are not moving forward. But if you record your actions, you see proof. That proof strengthens belief and fuels consistency. Write down what you accomplished each day. Review it weekly. You will notice patterns, areas for improvement, and evidence of success. Progress becomes visible, and visible progress keeps you going. Without tracking, you risk forgetting how far you have come, and discouragement can sneak in. Committing to daily progress also means accepting that setbacks will happen. You will have days when plans fall apart, when results do not match effort, when energy feels low. Those days do not erase your progress unless you let them. The real danger is not a missed day, it is quitting because of one missed day. Growth never stops as long as you keep returning to the path. Even if you stumble, get back up quickly and continue. That resilience is part of the process. One of the best ways to ensure progress is to create systems instead of relying on willpower. Systems are routines and structures that make the right actions automatic. If you want to read daily, set a fixed time and keep a book where you will see it. If you want to exercise, schedule it into your day as if it were a meeting you cannot skip. Systems remove decision fatigue and make consistency easier. The fewer choices you leave to chance, the more consistent your progress becomes. Daily progress also requires you to measure against yourself, not against others. Comparison destroys consistency. When you measure your growth by someone else's results, you either feel discouraged because they are ahead or arrogant because they are behind. Neither mindset sustains long-term progress. The only question that matters is, are you better today than you were yesterday? If the answer is yes, then you are growing, and that is all that counts. Another part of daily progress is learning. Growth is not only about action, but also about knowledge. Reading, listening, observing, and reflecting all expand your ability to act wisely. If you learn something new each day, your mind sharpens, your perspective widens, and your choices improve. Many failures are not due to lack of effort, but due to lack of knowledge. By committing to daily learning, you make sure your effort is directed more effectively. To keep progress steady, you must also protect your environment. Surroundings matter more than most people realize. If you spend time in places filled with distractions or negativity, your progress slows. But if you build an environment that supports focus and growth, your energy stays high. This includes the people around you. Being close to those who value growth inspires you to continue. Being around those who discourage or distract you makes consistency harder. Choosing the right environment is part of your commitment to daily progress. Progress is also linked to mindset. If you view growth as a destination,
you may stop once you reach a milestone. But if you see growth as a lifelong process, you will keep moving no matter how much you achieve. This mindset keeps you humble and hungry. You stop asking, have I made it? And start asking, how can I improve today? That question keeps growth alive. And as long as growth is alive, you never stagnate. One of the most powerful truths about progress is that small actions often create the biggest changes over time. A few minutes of daily reading can transform your knowledge. A short daily workout can transform your health. A consistent effort to save money can transform your finances. People underestimate small actions because they want instant results, but time multiplies the impact. If you stay committed long enough, the results will be far greater than you imagine. Committing to progress daily also builds identity. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you are becoming. When you consistently choose growth, you start to see yourself as someone who improves, someone who strives, someone who does not remain stagnant. That identity shapes future actions. It makes it easier to stay on the path because it becomes part of who you are. You don't just do growth, you live it. Another benefit of daily progress is the confidence it creates. Each day you act, you give yourself evidence that you can rely on yourself. Confidence is not built from wishing. It is built from proof. When you look back and see weeks or months of consistent progress, you carry certainty into future challenges. You know you can handle them because you have already proven discipline. That certainty frees you from hesitation and empowers you to aim even higher. Committing to daily progress also prevents regret. Regret often comes from knowing you wasted time, knowing you could have done more but didn't. When you live with progress as a daily habit, regret has no space to grow. Even if results take time, you know you did your part each day. That knowledge brings peace. You stop worrying about whether you could have done more because you know you gave your best consistently. That peace is one of the greatest rewards of daily growth. The commitment to progress must be renewed each day. Yesterday's effort is valuable, but it does not carry over into today. Growth is not something you can store in advance. You must wake up each morning and decide again to move forward. That decision repeated daily becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a lifestyle. Eventually, progress stops being something you think about. It becomes the way you live. The result of living this way is transformation. At first the changes are small, but over time, the daily effort compounds into something massive. Skills sharpen, opportunities expand, confidence grows, and your life takes a new direction. The person who commits to progress daily may not see immediate results, but given enough time, they become unstoppable. The growth never stops, because the habit never stops. Commit to progress daily. No matter how small the step, commit when you are motivated, and when you are not. Commit when things are going well, and when they are not. Commit because every step forward counts, and every day of growth brings you closer to the life you are capable of living. When you live with that commitment, growth becomes permanent, and your potential has no ceiling.